Hey everybody, it's Melissa, and today I wanted to give you an update on a fragrance that I used to talk about nonstop. I seriously would not shut up about it. In fact, I believe a lot of my followers that are subscribed to me right now are subscribed to me because of this fragrance, and that is Tuxedo by YSL. And this is not a sponsored video, by the way, but it should be. This should be a sponsored video because I go hard for this fragrance, all right? So this scent, where do I start? Tuxedo, let me just start with what it smells like, and then we'll get into all the real stuff, the stuff y'all really care about, all right? But what does it smell like? This has notes of bergamot for some freshness off the top. There's coriander, and just a quick disclaimer, I don't know what coriander smells like. I know that note is listed here, but between you and me, I'm not like, oh yes, this smells of coriander. Coriander, I know it's a spice, but I just can't. I'm not gonna pretend to be an expert here, all right? I know there's rose in this fragrance, which is beautifully blended. There's lily, and then the star of this fragrance to me is the bourbon vanilla in the base. That's that sexy vanilla, you know what I'm saying? And then there's also patchouli and ambergris. Now, patchouli, if you haven't smelled it, is like a dirty, earthy sort of smell. Sometimes it smells a little bit green. Ambergris, kind of, I don't know how to describe ambergris besides the fact that I tend to not like it. Now, if you've watched videos of mine before, whenever I talk about ambergris and patchouli and those two notes are dominant in a fragrance, I tend to not like the scent. Thankfully here, those two are more of a supporting role and it's not as prominent as the bourbon vanilla. Now, in terms of longevity, I was getting like a solid 6 to 7 hours of noticeability with this fragrance, all right? And to me, that's pretty solid. Now, I do prefer wearing it on skin in comparison to clothes, just because I think on skin, it just mixes with my skin chemistry so much better than it just would lingering on clothes. But if you are going for straight up longevity, then I would say definitely apply it on your clothes as well, because it'll stay on there, right? Now, Tuxedo was the love of my life, y'all. And if you've been with me for the past couple years, then you remember the period where I would not stop talking about this fragrance. I'm serious. I would do scent of the day videos every day, like the YouTube shorts, and I'd post it. And every single video was Tuxedo. And it got to the point that y'all were getting pissed. You were like, this is so predictable. Give us something new. No shit, it's gonna be Tuxedo. And I'm like, you know what? I gotta pump the brakes, because the community isn't receiving this that well, you know? Like, it was just, I was talking about it too much. But here's the thing. That's how you know that I'm genuine about something, is I don't shut up about it. But of course, this is what tends to happen. I talk about something so much that everyone's like, oh, you're clearly getting paid for that. You're not being for real. And I'm like, y'all, no, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm talking about this for like a good year, like the same way I do with Elysium and Salt and Pepper, like an afternoon swim, you know that I love those fragrances because there's no need for me to keep going on about them, right? But Tuxedo was, I believe this is the scent that coined my phrase Pound Town Galore, or at least it catapulted that, you know what I mean? There was probably another fragrance that I mentioned that I said Pound Town Galore to, but then this basically just took the title, because ever since, like, when I said that and I mentioned Tuxedo, I would get so many comments till this day, even DMs on Instagram of like, is Tuxedo still like a Pound Town Galore fragrance, blah, blah, blah. Like, so I've stopped with the Pound Town Galore videos just because, I mean, I've explained it on YouTube, on my lives as to why that is. But this was the face of that phrase. I kid you not. That was quite an era back in the day. But Tuxedo, y'all hear that? I don't know if you hear that. Tuxedo is the perfect balance between classy, elegant, and sexy. It just does it so well. There's just something so sophisticated about this fragrance, so elegant, so almost like high class. You know, when you wear it, it's irresistible. Now, Tuxedo is a part of YSL's private blend collection. So there's other fragrances that are like named after articles of clothing or something like that, and they are marketed as unisex fragrances. I know when you see the name Tuxedo, you're like, boom, that has to be a super masculine fragrance. But I don't want any of you feminine ladies to shy away from trying this if you're interested, because the way that this plays on a woman's skin is different than a guy's. You know, there was never a time that I wore Tuxedo that people were like, why do you smell like a guy? Are you wearing men's cologne? Like, nobody ever said that to me. It was just literally, I was swarmed. I was raking in compliments from everybody when I wore this scent. Now, truth be told, a lot of the compliments, a lot of the feral compliments were coming from women, right? And I wouldn't have it any other way. But Tuxedo was just like, I will say, it does on paper, it will go a little bit more on the masculine side. Let's be honest. Yeah, it will go a little bit more on the masculine side, but just don't be shy with wanting to try it if it is of interest to you, because I don't think that you'll regret it. In fact, I know there's a lot of women that have bought this fragrance because of me, and they just wear it as their daily, and they just go nuts when they smell themselves. So Tuxedo is just one of those scents that when I would be running errands, even if I'm not interacting with anybody, right? I'm not like, if I'm not trying to look for any compliments when I wear fragrances that I love, right? But when I wear this and I'm just in the car running errands, I'm like, damn, I fall in love with myself over and over and over again. And that's the tendency, and that's just the recurring thing that happens with a lot of the fragrances, like maybe the top 3 scents that I use is, it's just like, damn, that's good. I was gonna say yummy. It's not a gourmand. The reason I stopped myself is because it's not a gourmand, but it's still like delicious. It still gets that mouth-watering sort of scent. And I will say that this is my favorite YSL fragrance. And the reason I ride so hard for the house of YSL, whenever people ask, what's the best designer house? What should I get started with? I always say YSL, because La Nuit de l'Homme is what started my fragrance journey. And then Tuxedo is what like took over, like it got the baton and started running like Shikari. Like it was crazy what like YSL did for my fragrance journey. But also their feminine scents like Black Opium, like Libre, super sexy. Even their stuff like L'Homme, very sensual, like La Nuit de l'Homme. I don't even have to go on about it. But they're a great designer house to get started with. And even, I will say, this is the one private blend that I like. The other private blends I've tried from YSL, I wasn't rocking with. I know y'all have told me to try Baby Cat. I have not tried that fragrance yet. I tried Kaftan. I've tried Kaban. Wasn't with it. I wasn't with it. Tuxedo is the true love of my life. Like, this one is so good. Now, I really haven't been using this fragrance that often though. The reason I wanted to make this video is because I wore this yesterday. Last night, I was looking at my collection. I saw Tuxedo on the shelf and I said, damn, we have some good memories, right? I'm like, you know what? Let me throw it on for old time's sake. I threw it on and I'm like, damn, it still hits. Now, the reason I'm not wearing it as much is really because of the weather. It's just been super warm. I know we're already in September, but it's still hot over here. And I will say that Dior Homme 2020 has become like my go-to sweet nighttime fragrance. I've just been loving that scent, and that has kind of taken over Tuxedo just with wearability, right? Like when I've been using it, I'm like, God, that's such a good scent. It's so fire, you know what I mean? But I'm gonna let y'all in on something with Tuxedo. All right, so last year, maybe around October-ish, I got COVID for the very first time. And after, I kind of lost my sense of smell. And then when I regained my sense of smell and I smelled Tuxedo again, it didn't hit the same. I was like, what's going on? Because Tuxedo's my baby. And why does it smell a little bit more burnt? And why does it smell a little bit more patchouli-esque? Right? The notes that I said in the beginning, like ambergris and patchouli, specifically with patchouli, were more prominent in the fragrance than I would have liked it to be. So that's the reason this fragrance took a bit of a backseat, is because I did give it a few wears, but I'm like, what's going on here? You know what I mean? Where's that sweet bourbon vanilla? It was still there, but the patchouli was more noticeable, getting a little bit more noticeable, right? So when I wore this last night, still loved it, but I don't know what it is, because this is the only fragrance that this has happened to, that I noticed just like a change of smell after like COVID happened, right? When I retried all my other ones, like Elysium, like Salt and Pepper, same thing. In fact, with Salt and Pepper, it got even better. And I believe y'all use the word macerated, right? Like that you kind of let the fragrance juice sit, do its thing, smell it again after a couple months, and damn, it gets even better, right? But with Tuxedo, it didn't get better. Like it just, in fact, like I didn't like it as much as I used to. So that's kind of been a reason why the brakes have been like pumped with Tuxedo, is just because for my, like, it's the only fragrance that has done that. And don't get me wrong, I still really love it. If y'all were to ask me, is Tuxedo still a sexy fragrance in my eyes? Absolutely, it is. And you know what? Another reason though, and we're just gonna keep it real. We're gonna keep it real, all right? Another reason why I kind of toned down talking about Tuxedo was, yes, there was annoyance happening with my followers, but there was that worry that, because I would, I have some family, some friends that follow me as well. I'm like, I don't want these people to, because this was my signature scent. I'm like, I gotta chill, because people like with the other fragrances that were my signature scent, people that I knew started buying them up, and I'm like, and using them as their signature scent. I'm like, I can't have that happen. I can't have that happen. That's the reason I slowed down with Tuxedo, and also the reason I kind of pulled back a little with Salt and Pepper, because I'm like, hey, no. I gotta talk about more standard designer scents. I can't be just absolutely laying it out with what, like with my juice, my sauce, you know what I mean? What actually works well for me. But I still make the videos and I still tell y'all what I really do wear all the time. But this one I really haven't been pulling for. I know that the juice looks pretty significantly, like the dent is there for sure. But if you were to watch my video from like a year ago, the dent is similar to this spot. It hasn't gradually been sinking. In fact, I used so much of it, then it just kind of came to a halt. And this is the 125 ml, so the 4.2 fluid ounce bottle. It's the big bottle of Tuxedo. See that? Oh, that's still so good. But there's still some of that, there's a little bit of like a burning, maybe that's coriander actually, I don't know. But there's the whole bourbon vanilla fantasy vibe I had of this fragrance. It's just not as there. And I'm not saying it's a shattered illusion, because it's still good. But I just, for some reason, it's a little bit different. So that kind of makes me sad, because I feel like this would definitely be a little more used if I didn't kind of pick up on that smell. But here's the thing, yesterday I tried it on clothes, so maybe I got to try it again on skin just to kind of see what kind of pops off, right? But I still love this. This is the Pound Town Galore baby, y'all. This, like I said in the beginning of this video, so many people followed me because of this fragrance. So this is like one of those, like I don't want to say what do I say? Not Hall of Famers. It's like when people ask about what were the most important fragrances in your journey that, like, took you through, Tuxedo's one of them. I think if you were to ask me straight up right now, and maybe I'll make a video about this and I'll divulge in it, if I were to tell you, it would be La Nuit de l'Homme, it would be Tuxedo, it'd be Salt and Pepper, it would be Elysium, it would be Afternoon Swim, and also I used to talk about Carlisle a lot. Those are probably like the six fragrances in my journey that I would like, that completely just like, that got me right. You know what I mean? Because there's a difference. A lot of fragrances, people get into it because they're like, I just want to smell good, which is the reason I started, right? But when you start noticing that, oh shoot, like smelling good, like when you smell really good, it can get people acting up. Like, and it was just a whole different world, The whole reason I started was just to make sure that I smell nice. And, occasionally people would be like, oh, you smell good. But when I started getting like the different sort of like, ooh, like that's so, you know what I mean? Like more flirtatious stuff, more like, if like I say feral reactions, I'm like, there's a whole new game to be had here. So I started my channel. But long story short, a lot of love for Tuxedo. And I know a lot of y'all have this fragrance, so let me know in the comment section what you think of it, if you continue to rock it as your signature scent, or if it had a little phase for you. All right, so anyways, I gotta do more videos like this, like updated videos on the ones that I would not stop talking about. All right, I hope y'all have a great day. See you in the next video. Take care. Bye.